don't you worry, because what we're going to tackle today will definitely captivate you, your heart, your mind, and all your senses. So, what are we going to tackle then? Let me give you a clue. It starts with letter L, but not my surname. It's literature. But literature is still a broad word, so to be more specific, ladies and gentlemen, without much ado, it's Arabic literature.
Arabic literature, literature written in the Arabic language from the 6th century to the present. This literature has its roots in semi-nomadic societies on the Arabian Peninsula. Its spread is linked to the rise of Islam in the 7th and 8th centuries.
Alright, this is it. So, prepare your papers, pens, and pencils, and any writing pads, because we're going to list down now top 10 things that you should know about Arabic literature. But I can do it alone, or can you? That's why we're going to need some experts, and none other than our panelists. Thank you so much in advance. Shall we start? And on our top 10 list is none other than dun-dun-dun, the transition of histories, or
The transition began from the pre-Islamic literature to the medieval Arabic literature, which encompasses a richer body of poetry and prose up until the contemporary, which is now the present.
Major historical events have played a pivotal role in the development of Arabic literature. This diversity underscores the long and powerful history of Arabic literature and demonstrates its continued role in world culture.
Arabic literature today crosses geographical and national boundaries and includes numerous genres.
As renewed Islamic religious fervor spreads across the Arab world, Arabic literature has begun yet another process of adaptation.
I couldn't disagree more. I will never hate history again. Indeed, history has this great impact and influence on Arabic literature. So, shall we go a step higher? For our top 9 on the list, it's Adab in Madam.
Adab works were designed to be both educational and entertaining.
Makama are actually literary cousins of the Adab tradition, for among the medieval Arabic prose works.
Among medieval Arabic prose works, the Adab tradition holds pride of place. Adab encyclopedias could cover an enormous range of topics and often filled many volumes.
This genre combined anecdotal prose with other elements including Quranic verses, hadith, and poetry.
While the maqamat are supposedly the invention of 10th century writer Badi al-Zaman al-Hamadani, his assemblies are literary gems written in rhymed prose but including poetry.
A major subject in Adab collections was literary character types, such as misers, uninvented guests, and intelligent people.
Well, that's 2 down and 8 more to go. Next on the list is a person you might not have heard yet, but you should have heard about. It's none other than our topic on the list on the top 10 things you should know about Arabic literature is Batuta.
Batuta was probably the most widely traveled person in the world.
During his time, he paved the way of Arabic literature across the world.
Born in Tanger, now in Morocco, he traveled first to Mecca in Arabia. His writings was a great influence to Arabic literature. He described his travels in his writings.
Our top 7, the Jahiliyyah.
Arabic literature began before Islam in a period called the Jahiliyyah.
This literature of a partly nomadic society was dominated by a poetry and a poet. often acted as the oracle of his tribe. A major poetic form of this time was the kasida or oud. It required the poet to sustain the same rhythm and meter throughout the entire poem, which ran anywhere from 55 to 100 lines.
There goes our top 7. Next on the list, our top 6. Well, I think you've heard about this. Open Sesame. Sounds familiar, right? Yup, you're correct. It's Alibaba and 40 Thieves.
The tale of Alibaba tells the story of a poor man who stumbles upon a thief.
Well, the story of Alibaba touched the hearts not just in Arabia, but also other countries. And one example is the anime adaptation of Japan, which is Magi. Have you heard about it? I'm a fan.
Of course, not everyone who wrote a poem wrote a great poem. The original is actually Open Sesame.
We're down like 5 and 5 more to go. So next on the list is someone the world remembers. Quite curious. Well, it's none other than Naguib Mahfouz.
Naguib Mahfouz was one of the world's most renowned Arabic novelists. His work is mostly concerned with his native country of Egypt and covers a wide range of topics therein, from middle-class and lower-class life to the civilization's ancient history. He is regarded as one of the first contemporary writers of Arabic literature, along with El-Hakim, to explore themes of existentialism. He published 34 novels, over 350 short stories, dozens of movie scripts, and 5 plays over a 70-year career. Many of his works have been made into Egyptian and foreign films.
Helped establish the genre of the novel in modern Arabic literature.
He established the genre to portray everyday life and its tension in a changing Egyptian society.
Because of his great works, he won the 1988 Nobel Prize in Literature.
I want to write even a short story of anything.
On our top 4, I hope you should prepare your pen and paper to list this very important year, the France invasion on 1798.
The influence of the West on Arabic literature and culture started at the end of the 18th century with France's invasion of Egypt. The revival of Islam around the world in the late 20th century also has had enormous effect on Arabic literature, both secular and religious.
French and Arabic? Now, that is something I definitely didn't know.
Western imperialism brought with it new genres, the novel and the short story.
This event heralded a new phase in Arabic literature.
So, that is now our top 3. Third on the list is the infamous Arabic scripts.
Calligraphy is a high art form in the Arab world.
The Arabic language and the art of using it effectively became codified during the medieval period. Arab grammarians and literary scholars devoted themselves to analysis of the language and writing, which was considered inimitable, as well as the language of Arabic poetry.
How do they write it?
The Arabic script, which is derived from that of Aramaic, is written from left to right.
Let me give you a trivia. Did you know that Arabic language ranks 2 in the top 10 most difficult languages? The translators have the hardest time to learn.
Arabic literature is very important for those who are interested to learn Arabic language as well as Arabic grammar.
And there goes on. Top 3, ladies and gentlemen. We have 2 more to go. And on rank 2 is none other than the famous Arabian Nights.
Arabian Nights, a narrative structure in which a series of otherwise unconnected stories are told together within the context of a larger narrative. Several stories involved a popular figure of Arabic lore, Sinbad the Sailor, which garnered numerous film adaptations across the world.
Arabian Night is a framed story. It's like a book of books or a sampling storybook.
Sir Richard Francis Burton was a 19th century English explorer, author, and translator. In the late 1880s, Burton translated and published a multi-volume collection of Indian and Middle Eastern folktales, already popularly known as the Arabian Nights.
In Arabian Nights were folk tales from many countries.
The song Arabian Nights was also found during the prior part on the Aladdin movie by Disney.
And there goes Arabian Nights on top 2. Are you now ready for our top 1 on the 10 things you should know about Arabic literature? But before we do so, let's have a short recap, starting with our top 10.
10. Transition of Histories, the Chronicles. 9. Adab and Makama. 8. Batuta. 7. Jahiliyyah. 6. Alibaba and 40 Thieves. 5. Naguib Mahfouz. 4. France's invasion on 1798. 3. Arabic scripts. And 2. Arabian Nights.
Top 1 on the top 10 things you should know about Arabic literature is none other than Quran.
The Quran, the holy book of Islam, was revealed to the Arabian prophet Muhammad during the 7th century. It heralded not only a new religious civilization, but a sophisticated literary culture as well. The Quran is deemed perfect and perhaps even the greatest, both from a literary and a religious point of view.
The Quran was revealed in rhyme prose. Its power emanates not only from the incantatory rhythms of its language, but also from its vivid imagery.
Quran is like a Muslim counterpart of a Bible.
Muslims believe that the Quran is an infallible transcription of God's message to Muhammad.
And there you have it, our top 10 things you should know about Arabic literature. Especially to our panelists, you've been a wonderful help, and to you too for tuning in. I hope the list is fantastic, but it's been a wonderful time. It was so great. The time flies so fast, I can't believe it. It's almost done. This has been your host, Vegan Press, and on behalf of my members, thank you so much. Shukran jazilan. I think I'm gonna visit the radio. I'm just gonna be touched by this. What do you think?
Divided into 114 surahs or chapters. So, di ba? Na lang.
It all goes down to history. This is now our top 10. Look, sa tawag the transition of his
Tells the story of a poor man who stumbles upon a feast, cachet of goods.
Assalamualaikum. Di ba po ano yung quality sa camera kay Bailey?
Calligraphy is a high art form in the Arab world.
Yeah, I couldn't disagree more. I wouldn't hate
The Quran is the inflammable transcription. Balik to. Dili inflammable.
camera.